Hi, welcome everyone. Today we are going to be talking about how to identify your motivational drivers to elevate in your career. I'm going to go through a couple of slides, and if you don't have a pen or a paper just yet, I would encourage that you go and grab one very quickly in the process of our next slide when I'm introducing myself. Because we're going to be dropping a lot of gems today, and I don't want you to miss anything out. And I definitely want you to, at the end of this, go back, sit down, relax with a cup of coffee or tea, and just go through some of the things that we have gone through today and see where it resonates in your life, in your career, and how you can continue to elevate forward. So, as you grab your pen and your pads, today's discussion, we're going to look at identifying your own personal motivational drivers, learn how to develop and use your strengths, learn strategies and benefits of understanding and applying your strengths in your career, in your life, and then some takeaways as well as Q&As. Awesome. I'm going to hide this right here or move it even further if I can. It's not allowing me to do that, but no worries at all. So quickly, just to actually like get a little bit of introduction, so you know who you're talking or who you're listening to, and you can find out a little bit more about me. My name is Efe Fruci. I am a career and confidence coach. I have my business called the Coaching Element. And what I also do on top of that is working women, female entrepreneurs, professional students, and helping them really to become more confident in your career, to become more confident in themselves, and to also learn how to stand out to potential employers and be able to build your own careers as well. So a lot of the things that I also do on top of that is I also, that was a jumpy trigger fingers. On top of that, I also work as a creator or founder of ODE, a non-for-profit organization to support BIPOC women and girls across the world. And what we do is we provide access to education so they can actually be better prepared for leadership position, be better prepared for opportunities that may present themselves. I'm also a speaker and an author of the book Faith Over Fear, which also tells the reader about a journey of my personal journey as well as how I overcame some of the difficult challenges and obstacles in my life to get me here today. So if you would like to actually take a look at that after this, you can definitely look at it on Amazon, and it's also available on all where books are sold worldwide. So you can definitely take a look and explore that later on. So I hope you have grabbed your pens and your pads or your pencils, whatever you're using to actually document or gather information today, and let's dive in. So what is strength? That is a very great question. Your strength is a lot of things, and a lot of people have definitions upon definitions upon definitions. But one of the key things that stands out for me when I think about my career, when I think about myself as an individual and what my strengths are and what the meaning has been and will continue to be as I continue to evolve as well is strength itself is a great resource for increasing our energy and making us feel dynamic, right? When you think about your brain, these are things that you have in your toolbox. And your toolbox is your skills, your talents, your experience, what you bring to the table, something that makes you unique, that sets you apart from everybody else. Those things are your strength. Those things are your magical power, your own superpower. So never forget that. And again, you get to know your strength and you get to also exercise your strength, which we'll be talking about later on throughout this presentation as well, about how you put time in. How can you do that? We're also going to look at some of those things called the motivational drivers. Those key elements each and every day is the things that make you stronger. It's the thing that you do without even thinking that makes you shine, that makes you feel alive. So all those things, if you could think about what is your strength, I want you today to absolutely name them out and definitely let us know some of the key things that are happening in your personal life that you can identify as your strength and your own personal values. That's where they all come from. So if you have taken notes of that, awesome. We're going to look a little bit more into what is your motivational drivers, and we're going to look at some of these key things. But before I get started, I just want to pause for a second here and just allow you to write down maybe one or two things that you can think of as your motivational drivers. An example is things that pushes you, things that propel you, things that make you actually move forward, things that you're really good at, and things, of course, that motivates you each and every day to go after your career needs, your career goals, your life goals, your aspirations, things that you definitely want to achieve in the world. What helps you get there? What drives you forward? What are the things that people have told you that you're good at that makes you want to continue to build yourself and continue to move forward? So just take that moment there and just capture that notes before I dive right in. And if you see me jotting right over here with my eye contact, it's because I'm also making sure I go through my notes to ensure that we do not lose some of this information that I've gathered here today to help you continue to get more information about this topic and it'll continue to help you understand yourself, your career goals, your motivational drivers, your strengths, and a lot of the things that we're going to talk about today. So go right ahead and talk about that and just write something down with yourself, talk to your mind, bring everything out forward and write that down on a piece of paper. There's a particular quote that I actually wanted to also mention on this note here is according to one of my favorite author, Ryan and a colleague, Schwartz and Sharp, they wrote an article, or should I say they wrote a book about understanding what your strengths are. And one of the things he also said from that book is understanding your strengths are optimal in which context allow us to further navigate our understanding of ourselves and achieve our own goals. So that's why it's so important today that you realize that in order for you to excel, to elevate in your career, to elevate in your life, you have to understand who you are. You have to understand what drives you forward. You have to understand what inspires you. You also have to understand what you want because those key things helps you understand your value more and even create more values as you continue to evolve, helps you as well to be focused on your priorities in life and also help you to be focused on your priorities in your career. So what is your motivational drivers? I really hope that you've captured that information there today. It is a need for achievement, a need for affiliation, and a need for power. Okay. And when I think about all those things, in other words, it's also your unique strength. So we're going to look at a few activities later on for sure, but there are key things that I definitely want to actually share on this particular slide. Your motivational drivers allows you to be able to listen to others, right? Allows you to be able to listen to other people so that way you can accomplish what you also want in life. Because when you're listening to other people, you can answer with understanding and you can act from a place of understanding, which is important. So you can be able to listen to others and what compliments do people give or they tell you, what the things you're good at, for example, you can take all those things and continue to add them into your own personal toolbox. Consider this as a fun activity where you actually spend a day, for example, listening to your best friend or someone that you consider a mentor, or perhaps a coach, or even your academic advisor, wherever you're listening from, whoever those key people are that you would go to brainstorm, to create, co-create, to innovate ideas together. Ask them, what do they see you as? What are the things that they can, list out that you're really good at that makes you stand out? Those are the key things that you should be paying attention to as well, because then you can spend a lot of time crafting it, understanding it and making sure that as an individual that you are walking, paying attention, putting the time and the effort into making those key things that they've told you that you're really good at, something that you continue to elevate, something you continue to use to shine in your career while you're at work, while you're talking to people, and while you're navigating through this big wide world. So knowing your motivational driver as well also helps you to identify your own flow state of mind. And what that means is, such as the type of task that you're doing, your flow state of mind is when you're working on a particular task at work and you are so driven and you're so passionate about it that it doesn't really take you hours and hours to come up with ideas. That when you actually sink yourself into it, it just flows. That's your flow state of mind. And you can go on for hours, so you can go on for days. I tell myself this because there's certain days when I'm writing and I'm just writing, and it's either for my book or something that is passionate, that I'm passionate about, or a presentation that I have coming up. My flow state is usually when I'm talking or addressing a topic that really speaks to my core. I find myself coming out of ideas and innovation and cultivating new habits for my brain to continue to learn and expand and research new ideas and capturing all those things inside that presentation. I honestly would say that somebody could call my name, something could be happening literally 5 minutes away from me. I wouldn't even pay attention because I'm so focused, I'm so dedicated, I'm so immersed in that presentation or that work that I'm doing. That is an example of your flow state, something that you find a little bit harder to get yourself out of because you're so full on committed into doing that and making sure that it comes out in a perfect, excellent way. Now, the other things as well of knowing your motivational driver is knowing yourself. It helps you know yourself as well as your relationship with yourself and with others. So that way you can be the best that you can be. So that way you can show up each and every day as your best self. So that way you can show up as your best self at work. You can show up as your best self in your family. Those key things are very important. And that way you're not walking around wearing different masks of who you are today, who you were yesterday, but you just show up because you're so confident in who you are, your message, and what you're going to do. So knowing yourself is another important thing. So that knowing your motivational driver can help you understand, can help you come to terms with, can help you really own it. So that way, every time you go out into the world doesn't give you an identity that you have to then take upon yourself because you already know who you are. You already know yourself. You already know what you bring to the table, and nobody's opinions of matter is going to, change your mind. And finally, knowing your motivational drivers also help you maximize your distinctive specialities. So that is your great, building great organization skills, interpersonal skills, communication skills, and so on, but it also helps you to learn to be specific. And for example, is if you're great at an event planning or coordinating an event or managing projects or project management, if that is your thing, this is a great thing to know because then with your motivational driver, you'll be able to maximize that distinctive speciality. You'd be able to say, I'm a project manager, saying that with confidence, and working with confidence because you know your craft. You've spent time mastering it. So that is a really good thing. And if we look at it from an example of a tech perspective, one other thing that I also failed to mention is I am a consultant at Accenture, and I'm currently working on a project in applied intelligence as of this year. So one of the things that I also use, or when I come to think about this topic today, is I've been using my motivational driver and also maximizing my distinctive speciality. My background is in biomedical science, and previous to that was in nursing and midwifery, and previous to that was me working as a chef. Now, all this key things about my career journey and where I've been, one thing I want you to note is that I've taken every single lesson that they have taught me. Why? Because it's so important. Because you never know where in life you're going to have to pull some of those especially unique tools and those especially unique ideas, talents, experience, and skills that you can actually then take from your toolbox to apply into your career journey. And in one way or another, I share this because they have helped me throughout my career journey, even to the job that I'm actually, to my career now at Accenture, because it plays a key role. And it also plays a key role with me at the coaching element, working as a career and confidence coach, because I'm not only telling people about my experience, I'm showing them about my experience, about the journey I've been through, the roadmap of my career, and how they've actually propelled me forward. And now I've been using those tools in my toolbox that I've learned from when I was 15 or even 9 years old, and how they still play an important role today. It's just understanding when and where they come into context, when and where to put them, so that way they make sense. And all the same time, they help you. They help you in your career. They help you build confidence because you know what you're doing. You know what this is, and you know yourself, and you're able to perform from that place of understanding. So that's why it's so important that every single job that you've had, even if it's a volunteer role, you've actually worked there for a temp job or a part-time job or a full-time job, even the jobs that you don't even like. Don't be so quick to be dismissive. Take some, I call it a personal audit of my career. Take an audit of your career and take a look at where you've been before, how we can serve you now in your present state, in your present life, in your present career. And then again, how it can present itself and also come back and enable you and also empower you in future states. That's dreaming into the future. That is planning into the future. Now, I'm not saying you have to plan for 5, 10 years to be, oh, I need to get this done. I need to have this agenda for the 10-year plan that I have in the future. Not at all. I'm asking you to potentially think about where you would be in 3 months, 6 months from now. Because with COVID, everything is so uncertain. So it's also nice to have a plan and to have a roadmap, a career roadmap of where you see yourself going. And that's why I love working with women. That's why I love working with professionals. That's why I love working with anybody that want to actually elevate in their career. Why? Because there is so much in each of us. You just need somebody to be able to help you activate it. And that's why I love what I do. I work with individuals to help them activate their motivational drivers, their strengths, to understand who they are, to understand their unique skills, take things from their toolbox that they already know, or perhaps in some way have even forgotten and neglected, and refining it, modifying it, and then helping them use it to create a roadmap that can serve them not only now, but in the future. So I hope that's been very helpful for you so far in this particular set, in this particular slide that we've been on, and that you're taking notes as well. So let's take a closer look to some of the activities that I have for you today. I want you to write down your top 5 strengths. Okay, whatever they are, it could be you're good at managing tasks, motivating people, problem solving, creative thinking. You're great at co-creating with others, brainstorming ideas, whatever it could be. I want you to write down 5 things that you can identify as your strength. And if you struggle with this, I want you to actually connect with someone that you consider, again, a mentor, someone you trust, and you can go and ask them, what do they think are your 5 strengths? Because it's also great to get a different perspective from someone who also knows you, or perhaps even some people that are in your working environment, your peers in school, your colleagues, your parents, and just ask them, even your grandparents. You'd be fascinated and you'd be so amazed the way people see you, which is also a beautiful thing to also acknowledge. How do people see you in terms of how you see yourself? So that way you can actually look at the two and review them and see exactly where there are the truths and things that you haven't really thought about. And you can actually start working on those key things. So write down your 5 strengths and at least 5 things you naturally do. These are things that you naturally do without even thinking about it. I'm actually great at organizing. I'm great at presentation. I'm great at coding. I'm great at, and if you are great at coding, definitely link me up. Come and find me on LinkedIn under Efe Fruci for sure. Because why? I'm just learning how to how to do SQL. And that's again a new skill that I never knew I could do. But now I'm enjoying it because it plays a key role in my career. So 5 things that you naturally do that you're excited about, that you don't even need to spend time crafting it. You can just come out of it naturally and do. And some of the things that I also noticed this exercise also helps people with is for people who want to actually transition within their career, which is an area as well that I also specialize in, helping them navigate from coming out of a different career to transition into tech or to go into working back in the lab. Like I said, I worked in a lab for about 7+ years in gene and cell therapy and sort of actually like different division, and at the same time, knowing all those key things that I was naturally good at helps me to know what sort of career path I should be on, helps me to understand when else that should be growing in my own career journey as well, in a center and outside of a center. And that's why I also help my clients to understand that it's really, really important to know the things you naturally do because they might seem silly at times, but that's where I come in and help you look at it in a different way to say, have you considered how this can play a key role in your career? And that also helps them build a roadmap of where they're going in their career as well. So knowing those things for yourself is really important. And on top of it, the final one here is what would others who have observed you or worked with who say that you do well? So for example, if you're working today or if you work in a team, ask your colleagues, what have they observed from you that you do well? Is it motivating the team when the spirits are low? Is it communication skills when it comes to presenting with client-facing sort of projects? Is it presentation writing or building a deck and then presenting it? Is it notes taken? Is it organization skills? Is it management skill? Whatever it is, just go and ask a colleague today. That is a challenge for you. Ask a colleague. And if you're a student listening to this, then I want you to ask your peer and even ask your teachers what they think that you're really good at from the observation. So those key things, I want you to actually spend probably as much as a little time as you feel comfortable to actually take on board and explore today. And then also we're going to take a quicker look at a list of strengths. The list of strengths for many reasons, yet the main one is to help you identify why they are so you can learn how to use them every day. Every day, because your strengths, your motivational driver is like your muscle. If you don't use it, you don't exercise it, what happens, right? It actually becomes weaker. So it's the same thing with your strength and the same thing with your mind. Your mind, your strength, your motivational driver all starts right here in a thriving mind. So you have to continue to run that engine. You have to continue to listen to the engine to know what it wants, what it's asking for you, from you, what it's craving. So that way you can continue to fuel it with those key things and not unnecessary things. And what that does is continue to help you build your strength up, continue to build your confidence up, continue to build your self-esteem up, and continue to help you maintain that muscle. So why list your strengths? One, they'll help you identify areas that you can improve, right? And that's what I've just said in a few minutes ago. It helps you to improve your self-awareness, to understand what's going on around you, and to be also self-aware of yourself. Like, are there biases inside of yourself? Are there things that you could be doing better and you're just not doing it, and you're not putting that effort, you're not putting the commitment or the dedication that's required of you? So you got to think about those key things. At the same time as well, it helps you gain clarity into your distinctive qualities that we talked about earlier. Things that you can maximize when you know what they are. First, by the exercise we just talked about, listing some of your 5 strengths, things that you're good at, things that people have told you you're good at, and things that you enjoy doing naturally without even thinking about it in at work, in your career, school, whatever that may be. And they also help you to discover where to focus your attention, because that way you're not saying you're productive or you're busy, but you're actually, like, in a nice way, effectively, you're being smart productive. You're not wasting time on something that really doesn't serve you purpose, or you're wasting time doing something that you really don't get, but it also requires you to perhaps even go out a little bit and seek more advice or do more research on, because you'll be spending time in the wrong thing. So knowing and listing your strengths helps you to understand, okay, these are the things that I'm really good at. Now let me find a way to actually accomplish this. Let me go and find someone who can also help me to do this even more. And that's the beauty of it, because you can continue to grow. Listing your strengths is not just something that you list today and then by Tuesday you think you're a master of. It's a process, a lifelong process that you got to keep on putting time into, doing the work, putting dedication, asking, researching, growing, learning, constant learning, so that way you can continue to build yourself. And that's the beauty of it. And finally, on here, it helps you to reflect on ways to flex them every day. And like I said, it's a muscle. And if you don't actually, like, exercise that muscle, they become so weak and they become almost irrelevant, because then you feel like a little bit droopy here. And take, for example, with me, I haven't exercised for a long time. So by the time I lifted a weight, I'm talking 5 pounds only. I felt like I was lifting up something so huge because my body wasn't used to it, right? Because I've been out of action for a while. And it's the same thing, even when I actually went back into work and I was working or transitioned within a center and was working in different projects and exposing myself to strategy and consulting, to corporate functions, to scientific informatics, to life sciences and health sciences. All those things, while I was jumping around in different projects, required me to understand all these things, to master all these things, because I had listed my strengths where I knew I was good at. So that way I wasn't actually just going into a project that doesn't require my attention at all because I was lost or because I wasn't sure. These key things, this exercise from the previous slides, help you to achieve all of this and helps you to understand all of this, and also helps you to know how to implement all of these things into your everyday life. And best of all, it helps you so well in your career to build that confidence, because when you know yourself and you know your strengths and you know how to utilize all these key things, you'll become the master of your work. You become master in your career path. This is all the tools that you need to start helping you build your career roadmaps right now that I'm giving to you. So write them down. Come back and replay this if you have that opportunity. And continue to look at ways that you can challenge yourself. Ask yourself difficult questions that you need to be asking yourself, not waiting for someone else to ask you, but you need to ask yourself. So that way you can start thinking about those little things, medium things to bigger things that your career needs, that you need to invest in yourself, so that way you can reach your ultimate goal. Now let's look at the next slide here. So how do you develop your strengths? Because of course, I love to tell you all these things, but I also want to give you some of the tips as well. It is by identifying our strengths that we can then learn how to use them. So you see, this previous slide before tells you to list them, ask around, think about things you naturally do, and then now we're talking about how to then develop it and how to then use it. That's why listing those strengths, when you know all these things, you can learn how to exercise it. You can learn how to see where they play a key role in your present life, in your future state life, whatever way that you actually want to move in your career. But nonetheless, it helps you understand how to develop it. Now, I also have some notes here, so let me share that for you. It is from knowing our strengths and our unique talents that we can start to tap into our own greatness and potential for reaching our definition of success. In other words, it is good to know what you're working with, to know how to use it, because it's so important to know how to use your strength, because otherwise you're not working from a place of a blind spot, right? Think about when you're driving. If you don't have a mirror, how are you going to know what's going on if you don't have a mirror in your center or the side mirrors? You're just driving and you're guessing what you think you know. And even in that fact, some people might even stick their head out to look behind them. Now, let me just let that settle for a second. Would that be a great plan? To stick your head out of the driving window and look behind you so you can see if there's a car behind you before you actually go left or go right? How would you do that on the other side? So you got to have a plan to be able to move forward with integrity, with humility, with a plan, with dedication, with commitment, with focus, with understanding, because you already know your craft. You know what you're bringing to the table, and you know exactly what you need to do to get you to where you want to be in your career. So, for example, for me, ways I've learned to use my strength has always been first through self reflection, spending time to understand all those key things that we talked about in our exercise. Because why? I change regularly. I change even in 24 hours. Not because of what I want, but just because of things, or not knowing what I want, should I say, but it's because I know what I want. So I'm always trying to find new ways to improve them, to find new ways to see how I can elevate, to be better at them. So looking at those things are very important, and spending time self-reflecting is a very great tool. It's a very great exercise to actually do. I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes in a day, perhaps you could spend, but sometimes I spend about half an hour just sitting there looking at my day and seeing exactly what worked well. What could I have done differently today in my career? Especially when I'm actually working on a project of the center. What could I have done today to help the client actually like achieve, some better understanding of what that presentation was about or that workshop was about? And what could I have done better for my client today that I could bring on tomorrow or even give into somebody else's life for the next client or the next person I communicate with or I work with? All those key things are so important. Spending time to reflect, to see what you've done best, where you can areas of improvements is something that I definitely recommend for anybody. Time to self-reflect. Get some music on, get a nice cup of coffee on, or something that helps you again to nurture your motivational driver so that way you can be focused. So those are key things for sure. Self-reflection. So because when I get a new urge to try something, I want to see how it would work. Looking at all of it, it's like a puzzle that I want to definitely put together. So how is it going to work in my business or in my life, in my career? I always try to find time to reflect on my past and present strengths. Identifying the key ones from those things that I can say, okay, this is your great strength, Effie. You love helping people be motivated. You help build people's confidence. Now, how can you do that more? Let's take a closer look. And for me, I spent a lot of time and a lot of years looking at the positivity of psychology, right? The positive effects of psychology. And I've noticed how it helps people's minds to thrive. When we think positively, we talk to ourselves positively, we apply things into our lives positively, all in essence, all helps us really to tap into our greatness. So when I think about that, I'm always making sure that people understand that with a thriving mind, you have a thriving life because you can do anything when that is completely being exercised and that muscle of your mind is being strengthened every single day. So it allows me to what? To come back later on and also look at my past experience because it's a journal that I write one a day, a one a day line that I usually write, things that I've accomplished every single day. Now you can have things like that, or you can have a journal, or you can write a list of things at the end of your day, or you have a book where it's just like a self-reflection journal, for example. And you just write things that are going well for you, or things that you want to improve, or things you notice during your day at work that you can say, oh, I don't know where that came from, but let me just document it and spend some time over the weekend or this evening to see why was it so? How can I improve it? Or if you did something great, perfect. How can you continue to master that skill so you can continue to show up as your best self and excel and also help your peers and your colleagues to do the same? So that's really, really important when you think about it as well. So for sure, I want you to understand that understanding and developing using your strengths is really good. One, because it has allowed me to be able to connect within the firms of other leaders and also know what they're thinking and also take from that information, that discussion, and then say, okay, how can I be inspired by their words? And how exactly can it fit the skills and the strength and motivation drivers that I have within my toolbox? Focus. focus and paying attention to things that actually require your attention. So the power of your strength is so important. So now let's definitely look at some of the key things to help you develop, use your strengths. And those things are, where am I a fast learner in my current role? So if you think about your career right now, where exactly are you a fast learner in that role? And where are the things that you can actually do as well later on to even improve on that role? Right? And that's where we're coming on to number two as well. So think about it. Even if you're a student and you're listening to this, I want you to definitely think about it in the same context. Where are you a fast learner in your studies? Do you love biology? Do you love coding? Do you love computer science? Do you love, the idea of actually working at NASA one day? What does that look like? And even if it's a part-time job or you're volunteering, again, look at those key things, because no talent, no skills are wasted. Nothing that you're doing now is ever going to be wasted unless you say so. And that's the beauty of it, because nothing that you've experienced, no job that you've done before is unnecessary. Even if you hate the job or you didn't like it or you felt like it didn't give you anything, why don't you spend some time to see what you learned? Even if it's something that you learned about yourself, even if it's a skill that you acquired while you were trying to fall in love with that role, all those things really matter. And if you struggle with that, again, work with someone that you trust that can help you sort of identify that. If you have a mentor, if you have a coach, these are some key questions that you can actually work together with them. And then list one of two ways that you can use your strengths today. So how can you use your strength today in your career? And how can you use your strength today as a woman? Of course, with the International Women Day coming, what are the key strength things that you can actually use to help amplify women's voices? Amplify your own voice, amplify others in your community voice when you're thinking about your strengths. Those key things are also important because they just don't stay there for International Day or for the next month. They are a lifetime strength that you can continue to showcase, that you can continue to exercise, and you can continue to use. So again, based on activity one, you can definitely take a look at that and see how you can lead some of those two key strengths today where it can actually help you in your current role. So for this particular exercise, I want us to definitely continue to look at some of the key things here. Your goals, your aspirations, and your priorities, action steps, career priorities, expectations, and timeline. And one of the things I also wrote down here is, while you look at this screen, consider all of these key words, each and every one of them, and see exactly all those things that you've written down in activity one, activity two. Where do they play a role now? Right? Where do they play a key role when you're thinking about your career priorities? Do you even have one? What are the priorities in your career? Where do you want to go? Do you want a promotion? Do you want to elevate? Do you want to be the next managing director, the next CEO? How can you get there? What do you need in your toolbox to help you be better prepared? What are your priorities as an individual? Do they actually have any similarities with your career priorities? Can they merge together? Is there any synergy between them? Evaluate, take a look at these things. And then also look at your goals and your aspiration. What are they? List them out for your career. How can that be used each and every day? What are your expectations from yourself? What are the expectations from your managers? Your expectations from your mentor? What expectations you have of them that they can use to help you be better? And what is the timeline that you're also giving yourself to achieve those things? Because it's really important to say you want to do this, or I want to be the next tech guru, or I want to get into a tech career. But you got to be specific. You got to be real specific. This is a very similar exercise that I have in the back of my book that I give to my readers to help them identify things in their life. It's asking them to choose their priorities, identify their priorities, family, good health, financial, look at all these things and all those particular things, then taking them one by one and breaking them apart and setting expectations, timeline, and action steps to be able to achieve them. Timeline to say, if I want to actually get into tech, what do I need? What are they asking me for? Going into Udemy, taking a course online, looking at YouTube, or finding all these communities of people that are helping you get into tech, from Instagram to LinkedIn, and looking at where you can actually continue to learn and exercise that muscle. And then giving yourself a timeline to say, I'm going to work on this particular coding program for 3 months, or I'm going to join this community program for 1 month or 6 months and learn about it. And by the end of it, what's my action step? I want to apply for a job. I want to find a mentor. I want to actually do another internship, or probably find a volunteer role where I can actually get that experience first before applying for a job. It's talking about things, following through with actions, Put in a timeline and expectations for yourself to actually get it done, and then following through with that action step. That's the key goal. That's how you continue to exercise your motivational drivers and your strength. That's how you continue to propel yourself forward. That's how you stay on track and make sure you're paying attention to all those things that you've listed in your priorities, from your personal ones to your career goals. So those are things that I also wrote here is this. Continue to use this mindset right here to guide your frame of thinking, as it will also help you ensure that you do not fall back into repeating habits, right? That you don't fall back into a habit where you're thinking, oh, I can't do this, or going back to days where you don't even actually consider your priorities at all in your career, where it's just like every day is just play day. But you spend time to continue to build on this muscle because it's important. They all are important. It's how you spend time. It's what you decide to give attention to give power to. And if you're giving power to yourself to grow, it will give you something good back. So remember that it helps you ensure you do not fall back into repeating old habits, but you can remain consistent. That this is just a guide to help you move forward. It's a roadmap that I'm giving you today to help you move forward, to help you think deeper, search deeper within yourself, so you can create it in a way that elevates your career and personal life, and keep working on that plan gradually. Because nothing is going to work so quickly that you see results instantly. Sometimes it may happen, but sometimes it may take time. But also understanding that, again, also prevents you from disappointment. Just knowing what is to come. But you won't know, and you won't be better prepared if you haven't spent time understanding these key things. So reflecting from our previous activities and think on what needs to be accomplished and what are you going to achieve? How are you going to achieve them, right? Think about all those things. And then select one of your priorities and then reflect on them. And these are the key things. How will you apply your strength to achieve this priority? What actionable steps can you take to achieve it? What realistic time frame will you need to give yourself to accomplish it, right? And also, what are your career priorities? What are your team's priorities when collaborating and co-creating together? And on top of that, be clear and be specific. Think of a SMART goal tool. Use that as a guide as well. And add quantitative and qualitative successful measures of things that you've done in the past before, how they've actually played out, and how you think this could potentially play it out. That this plan that you're actually now recreating, or this, or whatever the past current moment that you have, how your current thinking and your frame of mind and who you are at this present stage can also help you to achieve that. Think about it. And then share them with your colleague and your team for collaboration, transparency, and also building team spirit. Because if you're working in a team and you definitely want to grow as a team, you have to communicate to one another. You have to be transparent about your strengths and your weaknesses, what you're good at, what you're not good at, so that way you can coexist as one and you can co-create together as one. Because there's no I in teams, so we sports. Okay? And understanding your strength, using your strength, let's take a closer look here. Before the benefits of knowing and understanding your strength, before we go right in here, I'll just give you some key things that I want you to definitely take. Or should I say, going back to this particular slide, let me also give you some of the notes that I captured here. They're great things to know. These two things are great things to know. Understanding your strength, using your strengths. Because if you understand it, ultimately you know how to use it, because you grow that strength. And then you come out with a focus in mind to go out there and smash it with confidence. So these are great things to know. So here are a few steps and strategies that you can take to develop your strengths today, including 1, do your own research on what excites you or what is of interest to you. Do your own research. Nobody can tell you. They can give you guides, they can give you things that they've observed from you, but you have to spend some time doing that yourself. Set realistic goals, right? Set realistic goals that are achievable, not something that's grand or outside of your own toolbox, because it will take time for you to build that toolbox as you evolve every day. But spend time researching what excites you so you can set realistic goals to achieve them. Connect, collaborate, and innovate with others, your managers, your friends, your former colleagues, your friends from school, from college. And also definitely continue to expand your horizon from LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn page, I recommend anybody that wants to definitely continue to grow and network with incredible individuals in their careers or in different fields, go set one right up. This is also another service that I provide for every individual I work with, just to make sure that they're standing out very well in front of recruiters or whatever it is that they want to do when it comes to their own personal goals. So expand your horizon, diversify your network, your relationship, because everybody has a different mindset. They also have a different vision. So it's really great to be able to have those conversations and see where it fits into your life when you spend time later on self reflecting on the discussion. Set actionable steps with your colleagues, your manager, by fostering conversations about what your strengths are as an individual and as a team. So that way you can both, on everybody, be speaking the same language, understand each other's personal career language as well, as I call them. And then also you'll be able to identify what are the most important things to help you achieve your goals. How can you stretch your goals? How can you use it in a new and a different way each and every day to serve you and to serve others? But it begins with a simple conversation with yourself and with other people. And then also, what strength would you focus on for the next 5 to 30 days? That's a good one. What strength would you focus on from all these conversations that we're talking about today, 5 to 30 days to help you stand out in your career? And then focus on that. Using that tools that I just gave you before about your career, your aspiration, your expectation, timeline, actionable steps to definitely get you to that 30-day mark. If it's a challenge, let's go. Let's start it today. And finally, have patience with yourself. Practice patience with yourself because practice makes perfect. It's not all just going to happen today, tomorrow, but be patient with yourself because all good things takes time. And better said than done, at times, it is possible. Everything is possible. You just need to be able to give yourself time and allow yourself to grow with that thought, with that action, with that idea, and be able to welcome in new ideas as you actually evolve as well. So take the time that you need to be patient because you will indeed reap all the benefits at the end of the process. I guarantee you that. If you spend time doing it, if you spend time talking to people, if you spend time diversifying your network, understanding your relationship, expanding your relationship, spending time by yourself, we will get there. And that's when you can definitely start seeing the benefits of knowing and understanding your strengths. Because why? It would have already helped you to make things happen because you have your priorities, you know who you are, you know your strengths, you're confident in those things. The benefits helps you to interact and positively influence people because you come in and speaking from a place of understanding. You come in and speaking from a place of knowing what your journey has been like and also advising or giving someone else's the tools that they need to also go back and reflect what is in their toolbox. You're encouraging, you're empowering, you're motivating people. It also helps you to build, nurture, and build relationships and friendships as well because you know yourself, you know where you want to go in your career, and you can also help inspire others who are struggling with where they want to go by looking at you and your habits, your positive habits, and taking that on board and seeing how they can also do the same to get to their ultimate career goals. It helps you to think and absorb information, helps you to explore and try new creative ideas. It also helps you to become more confident in yourself and your abilities, your skills, your motivational drivers. And it also helps you to become more engaged at work and with your work, right? Because it's so important. And it helps you increase your ability to achieve your goals and your level of vitality and energy. Because when you're doing something you love, something about that just makes my energy, for me anyway, just makes my energy continue to rise and rise because I love it. Until, of course, it comes down because I feel like my creative ideas are now coming down because I pour them out. So focus on those things. And also, the final one is it helps you to reduce the level of stress because you know exactly what you want, what works best for you, and you're not spending time doing things that no longer add value to your life or no longer speaks to you or no longer gives you energy because you're not spending time focusing on the strengths, the motivational drivers they do. And you're using that each and every day to help you in your tech career journey, your professional journey, whatever it is that you want to go ahead and do. So remember those key things. So the benefits of knowing and understanding your strengths is to help you learn all these things that we've discussed today and more so you can be confident to use them in and out of your work. Then you're able to use your strengths with good intention for your strengths, for yourself, for your community, with your peers, and we're able to help you build communication, good, effective communication to help you have understanding when you're working with other people as well. And finally, our takeaways from today. Among everything that we've actually discussed today, I really hope that you can take away some of those things and go and spend some time to really understand your motivational drivers and really see them as something that is beautiful, because that's you. That's your unique superpower, as I said. So take some time, spend some time with yourself to understand who you are, where you want to go with your career, how you can continue to exercise all the strengths that you've actually identified today, all these things in your toolbox, the skills that you've acquired years before. How can they play a key role now in who you are and who you are becoming? What can you take from your past experiences to apply into your career? Is it your motivation, your drive? Is it a particular skills that you've actually like you were acknowledged for? Or you may not have been acknowledged for it, but you were really good at it. What do you do naturally? So let's look at some of these things. And that's why I want you to definitely take those things away and create a safe space for yourself where you can spend at least, 5 to 10 minutes during the day or once a week, where you can just look at your strengths, identify them, see if they're still working to your favor, and if they still apply to who you are. And what doesn't apply, you can put them aside and continue to bring things in. Why? Because you can start to ask yourself questions such as, what brought me satisfaction from today's work? If you spend time at the end of the day when you're actually working in your career and you think, oh, that presentation was really hard, but I actually pulled through it. Because you can self-reflect and you can think, what brought me satisfaction today from my task, or the way I worked with my team, or the way I actually handled that pressure, or the way I actually handled that disappointment, or that unexpected surprise or element things that came out of your day. And you can ask yourself another question. What did I exceed? Where did I exceed my own expectation or my contribution today, as a colleague, as a friend, as a sister, as a brother, as whoever? Think about those things deeply. But if you're focused in your career, great. Then where did you exceed your own expectation today in your career? Did you actually like put your hands up to actually build the next presentation slide deck, or actually like become client facing and address the clients when they actually have questions and take lead on that? A leadership skills perhaps? What was my performance, or should I say, where was my performance at its best today in my career? Take a look, ask yourself this question. Where was my performance at its best today? And then also at the end of it, you can then plan on how to then use all these key things that you've gathered from the end of the day to focus on tomorrow and say, what are you going to do the day after that? How are you going to bring your best self forward? So basically, you're considering all the possible steps that you can actually take to make sure that you continue to actually shine. So definitely remember that, because what this does, helping yourself each day to reflect on who you are in your career, making sure you're on the right career path, helps you encourage other people to do the same, to strive to do the same, because a lot of people are watching you, especially people who admire and respect you. You may not know who they are all the time, but trust and believe that someone out there is watching you. So look for opportunities in and out of your work where you can use and elevate your strength. Strive for excellence in all that you do and encourage others to do the same in your work, outside of work. Be intentional about how you use your strengths as well, because strength is a beautiful thing, but you don't want to use it in a way that hurts other people, or you don't want to use it in a way that bragging becomes so that takes the beauty out of it. But you want to use it in a way that exudes excellence out of you, that encourages other people to work on their strengths as well, so that way they can continue to smile with gratitude, with excitement, with confidence that they are working on something bigger than themselves. And they're using it in the right way to empower other people. Because one thing I've learned in my journey as we come to a close is that everything that I've learned today and every experience that I've gone through, the hardship, the good and the bad, it isn't just for me. It is for me to empower other people to be able to move forward, to be able to encourage other people to find their own place in this unique world and be able to use their voice, their skills, their talent, their motivational drivers to become who they want to become, so that way they can continue to move forward and help other people do the same. So remember that as we actually come to this particular close. So I just want to say thank you so much. But before we do, in closing, remember, your strengths are your personal source of energy that you can draw upon as you evolve to help you excel in challenging times or when you're under pressure. Your strength helps boost your confidence, your resilience, and your understanding who you are and who you're becoming. So remember, even when you have become resourceful, your strength can also help you to be more authentic, genuine, as you continue to build on your unique values, your talents, your skills in the eyes of your colleagues and in the eyes of your clients, perhaps. So even when you struggle with your confidence or try something new at work with your own strengths and you're not sure and it doesn't come out as you want, don't give up. Don't leave it untapped. Keep finding the courage and the support to understand them and use them each and every day, even if it asks of you to spend 5 to 10 minutes on it every single day. That's a decision, that's a commitment that you have to make to yourself. Because I can't do it for you. I can only give you some of the tools, the tips that have worked for me. But ultimately, you still have to do the work to get yourself there. Remember, strengthening your strength and using it all takes time, patience, practice patience, and keep on practicing to use your strengths. So do not forget on the hard days that everything that is worth anything involves that is worth anything involves hard work. So keep working on that, keep building your strength, and know that your motivational driver, they're already inside of you. You just need to spend some time evaluating them, researching them, and then seeing how they can continue to elevate you and others around you. So thank you for having me today and allowing me to share not only my own experience, but all of the lessons that I've learned throughout my own career journey, all along the way. And I hope that you can take a lot of the things that we actually went through today in this PowerPoint slide, in this conversation, that you can take them and apply them into the parts where they actually fit into your life. So take what you need from today's session and continue to propel yourself forward. I hope you can all be able to go through this in your own way and find understanding and meaning as well. And I hope that you can continue to move forward in your career. And if there is any way that I can continue to help you and move forward, I would love to connect with each and every one of you. So I encourage you to please stay connected. You can scan the QR code and you can find me on LinkedIn under Efe Fruci. And you can also find me on Instagram at Efe Fruci, EFEFRUCI. And if you want to check out my non-for-profit and see how that can be of support to you, then definitely. I also hope that you be able to join me and connect with me on any of those platforms. So don't be afraid to reach out to me and let me know how I can definitely support you, how I can definitely support you in your dreams and your careers, and definitely continue to move forward as we go, as we continue to grow. So thank you so much for having me today. I'm just putting all of that down and making sure that we have a way of seeing each other. So thank you so much today for welcoming me and for listening to this conversation. And I definitely hope that we see each other again and we continue to move forward. If you have any questions, do not be afraid to reach out to me on hello@efefruci.com. And you can also reach out to me, as I said, on LinkedIn, Efe Fruci, or at Instagram, efefruci.com. Thank you so much again, and I hope to see you all very soon. Keep moving forward, keep propelling forward, and never give up hope.